Bioterrorism and Legal Battles. What is bioterrorism? A bioterrorism attack is the deliberate release of viruses, bacteria, toxins, or other harmful agents used to cause illness or death in people, animals, or plants. These agents are typically found in nature, but it is possible that they could be changed to increase their ability to cause disease, make them resistant to current medicines, or to increase their ability to be spread into the environment. History of bioterrorism. Biological terrorism dates as far back as ancient Rome, when feces were thrown into faces of enemies. This early version of biological terrorism continued on into the 14th century, where the bubonic plague was used to infiltrate enemy cities, both by instilling the fear of infection in residences in hopes that they would evacuate, and also to destroy defending forces that would not yield to the attack. The use of disease as a weapon in this stage of history exhibited a lack of control aggressors had over their own biological weapons. Primitive medical technology provided limited means of protection for the aggressor and the battles surrounding geographical regions. After the battle was won, the inability to contain enemies who escaped death led to widespread epidemics affecting not only the enemy forces, but also surrounding regions' inhabitants. Due to the use of these biological weapons and the apparent lack of medical advancement necessary to defend surrounding regions from them, widespread epidemics such as the bubonic plague quickly moved across all of Europe, destroying a large portion of its population. 1984 USA Rajneesh bioterror attack. In Oregon in 1984, followers of the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh attempted to control a local election by incapacitating the local population. This was done by infecting salad bars in 11 restaurants, produced in grocery stores, doorknobs, and other public domains with Salmonella typhimurium bacteria in the city of the Dalles, Oregon. The attack infected 751 people with severe food poisoning. However, there were no fatalities. This incident was the first known bioterrorist attack in the United States in the 20th century. 21st century 2001 USA anthrax attack. In September and October 2001, several cases of anthrax broke out in the United States in the 2001 anthrax attacks, caused deliberately. Letters laced with infection anthrax were delivered to news media offices and the U.S. Congress. The letters killed 5 tests of the anthrax strain used in the attack pointed to a domestic source, possibly from the biological weapons program. Still, the attacks provoked efforts to define the biodefense and biosecurity, where more limited definitions of biosafety had focused on unintentional or accidental impacts of agricultural and medical technologies. Types of agents. Under current United States law, bioagents, which have been declared by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services or the U.S. Department of Agriculture to have the potential to pose a severe threat to public health and safety, are officially defined as select agents. The CDC categorizes these agents as A, B, or C, and administers the Select Agent Program, which regulates the laboratories which may possess, use, or transfer select agents within the United States. Category A. These high-priority agents pose a risk to national security, can be easily transmitted and disseminated, result in high mortality, have potential major public health impact, may cause public panic, or require special action for public health preparedness. Category A includes number 1, tularemia, number 2, anthrax, smallpox, botulinum toxin, bubonic plague, and viral hemorrhagic fever. Tularemia. Tularemia or rabbit fever has a very low fatality rate if treated, but can severely incapacitate. The disease is caused by the Francisella tularensis bacterium and can be contracted through contact with the fur, inhalation, ingestion of contaminated water, or insect bites. Francisella tularensis is very infectious. A small number, 10 to 50 or so organisms can cause disease. If tularensis were used as a weapon, the bacteria would likely be made airborne for exposure by inhalation. People who inhale an infectious aerosol would generally experience severe respiratory illness, including life-threatening pneumonia and systemic infection if they are not treated. The bacteria that cause tularemia occur widely in nature and could be isolated and grown in quantity in a laboratory, although manufacturing an effective aerosol weapon would require considerable sophistication. Anthrax. Anthrax is a non-contagious disease caused by the spore-forming bacterium Bacillus anthracis. An anthrax vaccine does exist but requires many injections for stable use. When discovered, early anthrax can be cured by administering antibiotics such as ciprofloxacin. Its first modern incidence in biological warfare were when Scandinavian freedom fighters supplied by the German General Staff used anthrax with unknown results against the Imperial Russian Army in Finland in 1916. In 1993, the Shinrikyo used anthrax in an unsuccessful attempt in Tokyo with 0 fatalities. Anthrax was used in a series of attacks on the offices of several United States senators in late 2001. The anthrax was in a powder form and it was delivered by the mail. Anthrax is one of the few biological agents that federal employees have been vaccinated for. The strain used in the 2001 anthrax attack was identical to the strain used by the USAM raid. Smallpox. Smallpox is a highly contagious virus. It is transmitted easily through the atmosphere and has a high mortality rate, 20 to 40%. Smallpox was eradicated in the world in the 1970s thanks to a worldwide vaccination program. However, some virus samples are still available in Russian and American laboratories. Some believe that after the collapse of the Soviet Union, cultures of smallpox have become available in other countries. Although people born pre-1970 will have been vaccinated for smallpox under the WHO program, the effectiveness of vaccination is limited since the vaccine provides high level of immunity for only 3 to 5 years. Revaccination's protection lasts longer. As a biological weapon, smallpox is dangerous because of the highly contagious nature of both the infected and their packs. Also, the infrequency with which vaccines are administered among the general population since the eradication of the disease would leave most people unprotected in the event of an outbreak. Category B. Category B agents are moderately easy to disseminate and have low mortality rates. These include Q fever, typhus, staphylococcal, brucellosis, psittacosis, racid toxin from Bucinus communis, or the castor beans. Planning and response. Planning may involve the development of biological identification systems. Until recently in the United States, most biological defense strategies have been geared to protecting soldiers on the battlefield rather than ordinary people in cities. Financial cutbacks have limited the tracking of disease outbreaks. Some outbreaks such as food poisoning due to E. coli or Salmonella could be of either natural or deliberate origin. Preparedness. Biological agents are relatively easy to obtain by terrorists and are becoming more threatening in the US, and laboratories are working on advanced detection systems to provide early warning, identify contaminated areas and populations at risk, and to facilitate prompt treatment. Methods for predicting the use of biological agents in urban areas as well as assessing the area for the hazards associated with biological attacks are being established in major cities. In addition, forensic technologies are working on identifying biological agents, their geographical origins, and or their initial son. Efforts include decontamination technologies to restore facilities without causing additional environmental concerns. Biosurveillance. In 1999, the University of Pittsburgh Center for Biomedical Informatics deployed the first automated bioterrorism detection system, called the RODS, or the Real-Time Outbreak Disease Surveillance. RODS is designed to collect data from many data sources and use them to perform signal detection, that is, to detect a possible bioterrorism event at the earliest possible moment. RODS and other systems like it collect data from sources including clinic data, laboratory data, and data from over-the-counter drug sales. A subcontractor conceived the idea of obtaining live data feeds from the non-traditional or non-healthcare data sources. The RODS laboratory's first efforts eventually led to the establishment of the National Retail Data Monitor, a system which collects data from 20,000 retail locations nationwide. Response to bioterrorism incident or threats. Government agencies which would be called on to respond to a bioterrorism incident would include law enforcement, hazardous materials or decontamination units, and emergency medical units. The U.S. military is specialized units which can respond to a bioterrorism event. Among them are the U.S. Marine Corps Chemical Biological Incidents Response Force and the U.S. Army's 20th Support Command or the CBRNE, which can detect, identify and neutralize threats and decontaminate victims exposed to bioterror agents. Conclusion. National level mass awareness programs should be arranged, practical steps should be taken, every person must take care of himself and his dear ones, legislation should be made, improve conditions of urban areas.